right, to be respectful of everyone's time, we're going to go ahead and get started. Good morning. This is Michelle Fitzgibbon. I'm the Executive Director of the Ohio Fire Chiefs Association. And we also have on the call Jonathan Westendorf, the current president of the association. Jonathan, do you want to say a few words?
Hi, everybody. If you could just make sure you mute your mics so that everybody can hear when they're speaking without external noise. Good morning, everybody. Thank you once again for joining us. We have a very exciting year going on, in one in which our committees are really stepping up in big ways and starting to become the hands and feet of the organization. It's very exciting to see everything that is beginning to happen. And the advent of Zoom and the incorporation of this is really allowing people from all across the state to engage at a simultaneous time without investing a great deal of time of traveling back and forth between Columbus. So because of that, we wanted to take this opportunity to have all of our committee chairs that are available give a brief overview of each of their goals and the things that they're working on for this coming year, in the hopes that you as a new member or somebody who wants to become more engaged in the association can align your interests and strengths to a chosen area. So with that, we're going to turn this over and give everybody a chance to give a little quick sales pitch and some of the things that are most interesting about their committee, so that hopefully you can become engaged and involved and help us on our journey. Thank you.
Great, thanks so much. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and a couple of the committee chairs are not able to attend today, so I'll be running through their slides, but their contact information will be there if you have any questions and want to follow up with them. So here's a list of all the committees that we have within the association right now and what we're going to be running through today. And we're going to kick it off with the conference committee. The committee chair is retired Chief Tom Wallace. The conference committee oversees the planning and the logistics of the annual conference. The annual conference is always held in July, and we do have the dates for the July 2020 conference available. And if anyone's interested in those dates, we can send them out to you if you haven't pulled them from our calendars. The conference committee works on educational sessions, programs, and the vendor trade show are all handled by this committee. The conference committee is looking to provide educational and informative sessions to the conference attendees and currently have a call for abstracts or presentations out right now. And the committee is looking for ways to increase attendance and participation at the annual conference. And here is Chief Wallace's contact information. Matt Noble is the chair of the County Champion Program, and he is not able to join us today. So the county champions advocate for the association and encourage non-members to become members of the association. They encourage participation in educational session and explain to the fire service members the value of being a member of the association. Why should someone consider being a county champion? They can share information between the district director and the county champion. They attend county and district meetings, and then they coordinate meeting the new chiefs and introducing them to the association. And then they also facilitate email blasts that are sent out, and our district newsletters, which are sent out every other month. What is the time commitment? There's not a significant amount of time that's required for the county champion. Again, he just said, you know, you fill your commitments by interacting with colleagues and normal day-to-day activities, attending county and district meetings, attending fundraisers, and just meeting those new chiefs and introducing yourself and being somebody who's available to them. And then here's a list of the counties that currently don't have a county champion. So if anyone's interested in being one, here's Matt Noble's contact information. For the Education Committee, it is co-chaired by Chief Bill Shaw and Chief Brian Taylor. And I'm not for sure if either of them are on the call today.
Yes, good morning, Michelle. This is Bill Shaw.
Great.
Is that my lead to take over?
Yep, please go ahead.
Okay, good. So good morning, everyone. We do have trying to get this window out of the way so I can see all the slides. There we go. We're currently running the Fire Officer 1 and 2 programs, both weekends and weekdays. We seem to be having pretty good results. Fire Officer 3, Chief Ruiz and Chief Brown are leading this program. We really haven't seen a whole lot of call for this. And then Fire Officer 4 is through the OFE program, as you can see on the slide. We're not really sure why there's a lack of interest, I guess, in the Fire Officer 3 program. I'd have to reach out to Chief Ruiz and Brown to see what they're hearing back or what they're not hearing back from people. The Maxwell program continues to be successful. I think we have a number of deliveries scheduled for 2020. And those classes seem to fill up for us, so we don't have issues with having to schedule them and then cancel them due to lack of participation. The goals for the committee, we do want to meet 4 times a year. We just had a meeting on the 9th. We used this Zoom conference call platform that seemed to work out pretty well. We had a few people that had to call in, and I don't know if that was because they were mobile at the time or had some connectivity issues. And then we'll have one in January. We'll have one in, my apologies, we're going to get a call here, so it's going to make a lot of noise. Try to turn that down. Let's see, where are we? April, and then we'll have a meeting at the conference. A couple of projects that we're working on. We're looking at the interest of the current members and recruiting new members. We have picked up a few new members, which is good. We have a number of projects that we're working on. Looking to see what the interest and the participation is. We want to assign some roles and responsibilities to the committee members, break them down into some subgroups. We also had a thought recently about trying to utilize the board members a little bit more as maybe training liaisons or just trying to give us a feel for what is going on in the various districts. A lot of the districts seem to put on a lot of training that we could participate in somehow. We could support that possibly somehow or be involved in it somehow, yet we don't know about it. There's a number, I'm in Northeast Ohio, there's a number, I know some departments put on some trainings and we're not really a presence there. And I think that's a missed opportunity. So whether it's simply providing some financial support for maybe some refreshments or something like that, or co-sponsoring, I don't know to what level yet, but I think there are some opportunities out there that are being missed. So we want to look at those and try to see if we can capitalize on those, become a part of that, and get that interest up. And then we have assigned members to the various committees to help coordinate the educational offerings for those committees, more specifically health and wellness and the conference committee. As we mentioned, we have the Fire Officer 1, 2, and 3 in the Maxwell program. The marketing committee and the career ladder gives us a little bit of a blueprint on what a path that we can follow to try to match that. We had discussion at the last meeting about supporting the credentialing program and making sure that we have enough offerings for current members to recertify their credentialing or folks that aren't credentialed to contribute to that so they can get the courses and the time they need for their credentialing. The other thing that we talked about at the conference meeting was trying to come up with podcasts. I'm of that age group that doesn't really understand those very much. We have a few members who do, and they listen to them quite regularly. And I think that's something that we could develop, hopefully, to try to tap into some of our junior officers, some of our younger folks, possibly, to get them obviously more interested or get the word out about the Ohio Fire Chiefs and the training that we have. We have some people that are looking at the technical side of that as to what it takes. I'm told initially that it can be done very inexpensively We obviously don't want to have to make a big investment in equipment and audio equipment and that type of thing. I'm told we don't have to, but they're still looking into that. And then, of course, using the webinars, which I think are becoming more popular for people. And I don't know if Michelle, if you can touch on some of the usage of that. I know some of them, I think for the response plan have been very effective, pretty well attended. And then the other idea was to come up with a spring and fall seminar to try to complement the conference, kind of a lead-in into the conference, if you will. Have something in the spring to say, you know, put together some classes, not only to advertise the conference, but maybe to take that topic, whatever it may be, up to the next level to try to draw people in. And then also do something in the fall to have something to try to bolster the attendance at the Winter Symposium. So trying to match those up and align the conferences that we have with maybe some new offerings to try to almost be like a feeder system to get those in. And that is, if you have any questions, I'm available. That is not my phone number. It's actually 440. Sorry about that.
We will make that correction. Thank you.
Thank you.
George Snyder, are you on the webinar?
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, great.
All right. My name is George Snyder. I'm the chief of the Berg Hill Vernon Fire Department up in northeastern Trumbull County, and I chair the Emergency Medical Services Committee. So a little bit who we are, what we do. We're a constitutionally created committee, so our existence, just like everybody else, is in the OFCA Constitution. Our primary job is to keep abreast of all things concerning EMS. We accomplish a lot of that because moving down a couple bullet points there, 2 members of this committee are your representatives to the State Board of Emergency Medical Fire and Transportation Services, and that would be myself. I represent the volunteer and part-time sector, and Chief Dudley Wright, who represents the full-time sector. So that's a big way that we help keep abreast with everything that is going on with the state, and we're able to move that along back with the association membership. So we're also responsible for keeping the membership informed on those issues. So these types of things are what we bring back to the committee, and then the committee discusses what it is that they want to do, and we can go back with the board, et cetera, and move forward with things that the Chiefs Association may have their interests in. We evaluate the state of EMS in Ohio, how it relates to fire service, and represents the fire-based EMS interests and regulatory and other processes. Big tongue full, but our job is to protect the interests of EMS in the fire service. One of the things that has been on the state board agenda list, at least even since I've been there, in the back corner, has been the licensure of ambulances. And yes, while you can choose to voluntarily license your ambulance, there's been an underswell that has been kept back a few times about requiring every ambulance in the state to be licensed, and that's never been seen as something that's been positive for us as a public safety partner to have more regulation. There are a few fire departments out there that do it. So that's just an example of one of the things that we work with as far as dealing with the MFETS board. So what are we up to now? The current issues we're evaluating. The big one, and everybody, aside from even the Ohio Fire Chiefs Association, has been looking at this really hard. The Ohio Association of EMS, the Ohio Firefighters Association, even local fire departments. There was an article written up in my neck of the woods just yesterday about the shortage of volunteers, and one of the things that was brought up was the continuing education hour requirements for EMS providers. It's recognized that there's a lot of hours required, especially once you have multiple certifications. So that's being looked at by our committee. It's being looked at by the other sister organizations that I mentioned before. And the MFETS board actually has a ad hoc work group right now, excuse me, that is specifically dealing with human resources and recruitment retention issues. And this is big on their radar too. So this is one that we're following with interest. We're putting our input in. We've gotten some good information out of our group that we've sent back even to with MFETS. So that's a big one for us. The second two here are both currently in investigative stages. The first being issues affecting manpower and career part paid volunteer departments. This may include legislative changes. We're talking about being able to bring ambulances to the scene, number of people on a transporting ambulance, other things that can affect the levels of manpower, the levels of staffing, and what we have available and what we're able to provide as agencies throughout the state. So that first one is really investigative. The second one is the testing processes for EMS providers in Ohio. There has been some concern that maybe the National Registry is not the best testing modality for the initial training certifications for EMR all the way up through paramedic. So there has been some interest in investigating another avenue. To be frank, it's not looking like it's going to be something that we'll be able to affect. We're going to talk about it a little bit more at our meeting that we have coming up on November 4th with the EMS committee. Next one, please, Michelle. Thanks. So what's in our future? So obviously we're seeking input from around the state about why issues are important to providers locally and statewide. Remember that things are not only statewide and on the macro level, and they are not only local on the micro level, they fall in between on even regional levels. So things that may not necessarily affect the central region might affect the Northwest or the Northeast or Southwest, et cetera, and vice versa. So we're looking for input from around the entire state as to where we need to go. We're looking to address the human resources challenge. A lot of that I just explained to you in the slide before as to what our role in it is looking at it. We don't want to be reactionary. We want to be progressive when it comes to the future of EMS. So right now, I think a lot of us are in a reactionary state because this whole recruitment, retention, and manpower staffing issue has, while it's been knocking on the door, I think it's kind of punched the door in a little bit more quickly than what we thought it was going to. So we need to get ahead of that and then become more progressive with it. And we hope, obviously, in the future, our membership will join us in accomplishing these goals. There is my contact information. That number, excuse me, that's on there would be the station. If you call that, you'll probably get the voicemail. I'll offer you my cell phone number, which is 330-442-7444, 330-442-7444. If any of you need to get in touch with me in reference to what I talked about today or anything moving on down the road. So thanks so much.
We're going to go on the legislative committee now, and I think Steve Agenbrod is going to do this presentation.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Like Michelle said, I'm Steve Agenbrod. I'm the committee co-chair, and I'll be filling in for Jonathan this morning. First of all, when you look at what is the legislative committee, a couple things to think of as kind of a byproduct of being involved in this committee is, it's very educational. The things that you learn and the things that you work through. And it's actually benefited me in my job as a fire chief when working with my boss as a township administrator or in discussion with the law director. I'm asked questions, and to be able to speak, from an informed opinion on legislative issues going around the state seems to have given me a lot of credibility with my bosses here at home. So not only with this committee do you get to be involved, at the state level with the association, but it also trickles back to your local responsibilities as a chief officer. So the Ohio Fire Chiefs Association recognizes that this is an important thing to be involved in, to provide input to the board of directors on the legislative process and what's going on. In order for the executive board to make informed and educated decisions on current legislative issues, on whether we have a certain ask or whether we support or oppose certain legislation, we need people who are well informed in our industry to be involved in this process, to know, how it is that we want to do that. And then we also want to be able to educate the members of our association. We work for them, they're dues paying members, and when they have questions and want to know what's going on with this bill or what's going on with that bill, to be able to provide them with certain insight and things along those lines is very beneficial. So next slide, please, Michelle. So what are our goals coming up? So the biggest thing in these 3 bullet points cover, we're looking to get chief officers from around the state to get involved in the legislative process. One of the biggest time commitment or issues is to be able to set aside some time to actually read proposed legislation and be able to offer your insight into it. A number of times, just people look at legislations from different angles. So we want to be able to look at it from all sides, offer all the input of things we see, and then that way we can, offer an informed and educated opinion to the board. Also with this group, we want to be able to provide testimony to the legislature if there are certain bills that are looking to be passed through, to be able to go and provide, opponent or proponent testimony to the legislature. You go in with your Class A uniform, you have a lot of credibility, a lot of credence, and if you can go in there informed, then that will do our association very well. And I got to give a lot of credit to the Fitzgibbons group, Michelle specifically, who will work with you and prep you for that testimony if that's something that you're willing to do or want to be involved in. And the biggest thing about this group is we're looking to be very diversified. Like was stated in the previous slide, there's a lot going on throughout the state, whether it be with volunteer departments, part-time departments, combination, full-time, such. And then there's also, city fire departments, township departments, joint districts. There's a lot of issues that run the gamut of our industry. And we're looking to have a diverse group of people that can provide insights on things along those lines. So if you're looking to join a committee that is very active and can actually make your job at home much better, this is one to do it. So for the time commitment, we do meet monthly via Zoom. We meet on the second Monday of the month at 10 a.m. You can be very busy being part of this committee during legislative sessions because there is a lot that's going on. A lot of things are hitting the fan, if you will. And the recent EMA legislation is a perfect example. While we didn't get exactly what we wanted, we were paramount to keep that somewhat isolated. And it looks like with that, it's not even going to end up getting any traction in the county that it's being proposed in. So I think that goes to a lot of the hard work and efforts of the legislative committee. And that's about all I have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. I think Paul Wright's on. He'll go through the marketing committee.
Yes, good morning. With marketing, I'm the committee chair of that. And if you can see me, I just want to reach out and tell you that there are people who are very jealous of my headset, just to let you know that. So afterwards, if you want to call me, I can get you in touch with where you can get such a quality piece of that. So it's the only way I can get my mic to work on this stupid computer. Anyways, purpose of the marketing is we reach out to our members and explain to them exactly what their benefits are and and what's available to them. That we also take all of our services that are offered by the foundation and also the association, such as education and some of their scholarships that are available that and market that as well, all with the idea of keeping our tagline of premier, professional, proactive. We branded that a few years ago and that and kept that moving. One thing that we are not a recruiting arm of the Fire Chiefs Association to get new people to enter the fire service. Sometimes people think marketing is to go into high school and gets kids, identifying this as a career aspect and all that. But the marketing committee is more as an internal group to work with our other committees at getting their word out on all the great work that they do. So we actually work almost for the other committees whenever they partner with us. They say, hey, here's the message we need to get out from that standpoint. So sometimes we get a little confusion there. Some of their goals for this year, is that we, like I said, with those education classes, that we like to highlight those and the scholarships and our other services. And we do that in a number of ways through some various formats. Our flagship product that we have and work with is the publication committee, is our magazine. So we make sure that we have the same look on everything in there. We also use social media, e-blasts, emails, and any other mailings, or any ways that we can do that to get all these messages of what we're trying to market out to the group in that. The other thing we're going to try this year is to, excuse my cold here, is the video testimonials of scholarship recipients. We thought it'd be great to have a quick little blurb of some of our recipients and saying how the scholarships helped them over the year. And then we can post that on social media and they can take a look at that. We also provide any materials that the district directors ask for us as they go out and make their visits across the state, and also have that information available to county champions as they need. But again, a lot of times they need to come to us and ask for assistance because we're not sure what all the committees are working on. So we're happy to partner with that. And that's how we work on that. Some things that projects we're working on in the future here is, as you can see, that create a booklet called "You're the Fire Chief, Now What?" We'd like to offer that as a member benefit or a way to attract potential new members into the association by providing this book of kind of what do you do the first 100 days that you sit in the chair of the fire chief, or you're an interim chief. And that there's a number of publications across the country that that do this already, and we're just going to take some of those and kind of Ohioize it and make it available because it seems to be something that we're asked about from time to time. Another project that also we're working on is a winter symposium first time attendee video. We did a first time attendee video for the conference this past year, and the first time attendees appreciated knowing where do you check into the hotel and what do you do in that. Navigating the winter symposiums even a little more complicated in the Sheraton because a lot of times people get there early and the rooms aren't available, and it's what do you do with your luggage, and where exactly in the facility do you go, how do you work around the State House and those type of things. So we're going to work on getting that video again available again, and that it's a backdoor way of trying to market the winter symposium. So if people aren't sure what to do, it makes them already have a little level of comfort and also highlight some of the things we do. So again, we're here to help out any of the other committees market their stuff and try to keep a common look for everything that we do, and here to assess. So that's what we have. There is my contact information, and thanks for joining us today.
And then the membership committee is chaired by Chief Joe Kitchen.
Good morning, everybody. So I began my time as chairman of this committee just about a year ago. And I can tell you, if you are somebody who's fairly new in the association or wants to get involved, we certainly have openings on the membership committee. We could probably double the amount. So let me tell you a little bit more about it. You know, go to the next slide. So one of the things that the membership committee does, obviously, is, you know, we want to make, you know, fire chiefs and officers in Ohio aware of the association because we want them to join. And I can tell you that part has been very successful. The last couple of years, we're hitting around 1,700 members plus. So people are joining, and we're going to continue those efforts because, you know, we'd love to see those numbers continue to rise. But the real focus of the committee right now is to engage those 1,700 members. As Chief Shaw was saying, there's so many education programs and awesome products and services that we're delivering. And we're seeing a little bit of a downward trend on our members taking advantage of those things. So what we want the membership committee to do is evaluate the benefits that we provide to the members, make sure that they're aware of what we have to offer, and to try to get them more engaged. And we're doing that by looking at some survey information, you know, going out at our county and district meetings, and trying to figure out how best to deliver these things. You know, we know that with technology and just time restraints, that maybe the traditional ways that we delivered information may not be the answer moving forward. So that's one of the things we're really studying right now. If you go to the next slide. Here's the current list. And as you can see, it's not a huge committee. So if you're interested, please, we're going to show my contact information coming up, but I would love to, I'd love to have you as part of the committee. We meet every other month. And as some of the other chiefs have said, we're going to take more advantage of this format that we're using right now. The Zoom technology, we think is a great way. We can see each other, we can share information, and save some trips for those chiefs that don't live close to Central Ohio and have difficulty making that trip to the office. So if you're somebody that's been interested in a committee, but you're worried about getting out of your firehouse and on the road to Columbus, I think we are heading in a direction where that stuff will probably be less and less. Our committee decided that Friday was usually the best day of the week. And one of the things that Jonathan, our president, and Michelle, the executive director, have asked us to do is to try to get all those meeting dates and times out as early as possible so we can get them on the website so people can be aware of when those meetings are. So that's one of the things we're working on as well. You can go to the next. So that's me. I'm the chief of the Bath Township Fire Department, which is near Lima in Allen County. I would love for you to call me, email me, because like I said, we're doing a great job on total numbers, and we want to continue to see that trend up. But what we really want is, we'd like to get the summer conference at, standing room only. We want to get people coming to the legislative seminar, the winter symposium. We want people tuning in to the webinars and, taking advantages of all the things that we provide at the Ohio Fire Chief. So come and join the membership committee. I'd love to have you.
Thanks so much, Joe. Now we'll turn it over to Deputy Chief Richard Bober, who is the chair of the Metro Chiefs Subcommittee.
Good morning. I'm the chief, or the deputy chief over the Metro Chiefs Subcommittee. Our committee is was created to serve metro departments of 50,000 or greater and 100 or more employees. And we're kind of reinvigorating the committee. We're meeting on a monthly basis right now, and we're doing a number of various topics. Specifically this year, our goal was to engage and increase membership as following what the Ohio Fire Chiefs had put out for their strategic goals. And the first goal that we had was to reach out, share, and disseminate the information specifically to the metros, but then try to engage them to share information back with the Ohio Fire Chiefs to kind of work in a symbiotic relationship. We started off this year talking about cancer prevention. We've spent some time talking about peer support. We discussed the Dayton shooter, the active shooter incident that Dayton had. And next month, we're looking to talk about some of the legislative stuff that's coming up, looking at peer support, and try to, I'm specifically going to try and engage the metros to join us at the Winter Symposium. I think there's a great benefit in that, but it's all about increasing the membership, engaging the membership to try and get, excuse me, my phone's going off, to get some more information back to the Ohio Fire Chiefs Association. Again, trying to engage them on a regular basis, making sure that we all have information to share, and try to, the last goal was to try and get folks to come from the Metro Committee to come and share information at the annual summer convention. So that's the Metro Chiefs. If you have any information or you have any questions for me, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is there, and thank you.
Thank you so much. And Andy Bayless will go over the OFE Alumni Committee. Andy might not be on the call today. So I'll go ahead and run through his slides. The OFE Alumni Committee began as an ad hoc committee in late 2007 by alumni of the first 5 classes. the board of directors requested they formalize a committee. The mission of the committee is to provide professional development opportunities for graduates of the OFE program, provide support for the OFE program, and to provide financial support in the form of scholarships for students currently enrolled in the program or those that are wishing to apply. The committee sets goals to provide quality professional development classes or seminars which would align with the core concepts of the OFE program. Some of the past offerings have included instruction by well-known local and national speakers, as well as some of their own graduates presenting timely topics during the OFCA annual conference. The committee also helps to sponsor graduation ceremonies for each graduation class and has commissioned the OFE citation bar that's awarded to all OFE graduates. The OFE Alumni Scholarship is awarded annually at our conference, and the total award per recipient is $1,500, and it covers $300 of each tuition payment over the course of the program. The committee also sets up the means to provide emergency scholarships to students who are at risk of having to drop the program due to financial constraints. And this is Andy's contact information if anyone is interested in joining and has some additional questions. And we'll now turn it over to retired Chief Bill Hauk, who chairs the OP&F Healthcare Subcommittee.
Good morning, everyone. Michelle, I just want to make sure. I know we had some audio issues the other day. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. I don't trust this computer. So here's the Healthcare Subcommittee was formed less than a year ago. Probably got into the game a little bit late, but board decided they wanted to try to form the committee to help watch, I guess, what's going on with the healthcare change in the pension system. So we actually, you see the list of members here. We've got a pretty good group, diverse group from around the state. Some are still active, some are retired. We can go on to the next slide. So the group, pretty early into it, the first meeting, we decided that we weren't going to focus on so much what had happened, and we knew there were some people, some groups that were working on, kind of what had happened, some quick changes. We decided we were going to have three priorities. First one was, admittedly, many of us didn't feel we knew as much about the pension system as we probably should have. So we wanted to educate ourselves on the history, how it was formed, why it was formed, and specifically, how we got to where we were with the change in the healthcare that was provided. So we did some research. We did actually meet with one of the members. Felt like we got a pretty good background on OP&F. The other one, we really kind of thought was try to determine if there was a way that we could help any of our members navigate the system and or issues that were going on at the time. I don't know that we necessarily came up with any solutions, but specific, but we have been watching that. And we know that while it is still not where people want it to be, I think a lot of those initial issues have either been resolved or are being worked on to try to improve what's going on. And then the other piece was working to see if there was, if we could help come up with some sort of solution or what would, if there's something we could do to help it out. So goals that we have moving forward is we have been attending the police and fire meetings on a regular basis, and we're trying to also attend the healthcare committee that they have prior to those meetings. And we have started attending the Ohio Retirement Study Council, which is a good way for us to kind of get a feel where we are in conjunction with the other pension systems. I'll tell you, everyone seems like they're starting to have some issues, and obviously those of us that had to deal with healthcare in our fire departments know that it's been a problem the last, I don't know, decade or so. So we're not the only ones that are kind of dealing with that. And then we also decided that when it's possible, we're going to try to keep up the relationships with other organizations, whether it's OPF or OAPFF, FOP, whoever it might be, and maybe align ourselves with some like-minded organizations if we can collaborate here again to help with some sort of solution or improvements. There are a lot of good people that are kind of working on this, so we're trying to stay up on it as well. So here's my contact information. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to either call me or email me. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll now turn it over to Assistant Chief Chris Menefee, who chairs the Publications Committee.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Michelle, for putting this together. Can everybody hear me okay, Michelle? I'm in the car. Want to make sure I'm going to be heard okay.
Yes, you're fine.
All right, so the Publication Committee, we are primarily responsible for the production of the quarterly magazine, Income Magazine. You can see our goals for 2020. I can't stress enough, the number one goal is to increase the number of people involved in the committee. Since being on the committee and then being appointed chair after the previous chairman retirement, Chief Stewart, what we really tried to do is not only increase membership, but like the other committee chairs have talked about, we've tried to diversify membership from, members from all over the state. And the problem is, we've noticed that there's quite a few people that have stepped up and said, hey, I'd love to be on the committee of the magazine, and unfortunately their level of participation isn't where we need it to be. We are a very active committee. If you're on the team, I'm the coach that expects you to be able to know the playbook. So I don't want to discourage anybody from joining the team, but if you're going to be on it, we need people to participate. So those that are on the call and those that know people in your organizations that can contribute to the magazine and to the direction of the magazine and our mission, I would really appreciate you having them reach out to us. We are going to begin to take advantage of this format. We only meet quarterly. And then Ann's really the backbone of the magazine, and she usually walks everybody through everything that they are assigned and makes sure the deadlines are met, and she takes care of all of that. So I say it's a big commitment, but what we really need is people that will participate, will come to the meetings. If we have them on Zoom, they attend, and they just add their input from the perspective of the lens that they are looking through from their part of the state. And, are they paid? Are they volunteered? Are they part-time paid? If you've noticed, we've started to theme the magazines, and that's been, we've received a lot of great input from that, and we're going to continue to do so. So each magazine will have a theme. We also want to increase our digital footprint, and we're going to start taking video testimony of members that are in the association, and we're going to put those on the website, and that way people can, and possible people that want to join different committees or they want to join the association as a whole, they'll have that opportunity and they can see those testimonies. So if you're a committee chair and would like to offer a testimony, all you have to do is contact me and we'll get you in front of a camera, make it easy on you, and we'll get your information up there. And then also not just joining committees, but what's the benefit of the magazine? And obviously you can get the magazine in hard copy. You can also get it digitally now. A lot of the younger group is getting it digitally, and that's great. But we need to increase that message also. So that's one of our goals moving forward. Next slide, please.
I think the next slide is just your contact information.
Okay. All right, I apologize. So we do the January. Can you see the January, February, March
That's it. There you go.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
Okay. So the one coming up, one of the other committee chairs has already talked about it, but we felt that I don't want to give away too much because I want everybody to read the magazine. But the bottom line is we are going to have numerous articles, and the whole theme of the magazine, the upcoming magazine, will be quality versus quantity. You know, I deal with that internally as well as most of you guys do as chief officers, and you know, we have an internal rule because of you know who I am and what my expectations are. You know, I don't allow my guys to have more than 40% of their continuing education units completed distance. So, you know, my guys aren't sitting in front of a computer and getting all their CEs. I make them do hands-on. We scrutinize the trainings, and we make sure we have quality continuing education units versus quantity. The quantity is set by the state. I believe that the fire chief wholeheartedly can determine the quality of those number of units set to us by the state. So that's kind of going to be the theme moving up of that magazine. And then we're going to hold our commitment to giving one magazine per year to the Safety and Wellness Committee. And again, we thought our committee came up with some titles this time. I think that they've done a wonderful job of getting the message out about cancer and PTSD and all the other things that we have going on that impact the body and mind of the fire service professional. But we thought these particular articles we could task them with, and they accepted them. And I'm really excited to see that work product. They have some extremely motivated and rising stars in our industry on that committee, and I'm excited to see the work product when you look at those titles. The one that I'm most excited to see is the last bullet point. You know, personally, my wife and I have made it a point to remain close. We have a 20-plus year friendship with a couple that have nothing to do with the fire service. So when we get together with that couple, we talk about kids, we talk about grown adult kids now, we talk about sports, we talk about camping trips, we talk about, you know, whatever it is that we talk about. He's a UPS driver. So, and she works as a receptionist at a college. So we do not talk about the fire service. We do not talk about problems with the union. We don't talk about chief stuff. We don't talk about firefighter stuff. And I can't tell you, when we walk away from those social gatherings, my wife and I, how relieved we are, how re-energized we are that we just didn't spend an entire evening out talking about what we talk about every night in the living room anyway, just with different people sitting in the room. So I'm very excited about that, but that's the kind of things we try to do at the magazine. We try to theme it. We try to keep it relative. So the next slide, please. That's my contact information. Unless it was changed, I can't see it. The phone number the last four digits should be 0831. That'll get you the executive offices. If you call the 5478 number, you get the firehouse, and you're going to be dealing with Joe firefighter, and I might get the call, I might not, or the firehouse might be empty because we're a pretty busy one. So 0831 should be the last four numbers. Please call me if you're interested in joining the committee. Please call if you have input on an article you would like to see in an upcoming issue, or call me for anything else you might need. Michelle, thank you.
Thank you. Our Safety, Health, and Wellness Committee is chaired by Assistant Chief Jack Rupp. He was not able to join today, so I'm going to run through his slides. The Safety, Health, and Wellness Committee was created in October 2015, and they created a committee charter which established goals, objectives, and focused work groups. The groups include behavioral health, cancer, occupational health and fitness, personal protective equipment and research, and the committee has a chair, vice chair, and secretary, and currently has 21 members. Jack listed their current accomplishments. I won't run through all of those, but the goals that they have set for themselves are to develop a library of resources, investigate and incorporate information from other fire service, safety, health, and wellness organizations into programs for the members of the association. Investigate and incorporate information from other regulatory research and educational organizations into programs for the members. Create guidance documents for the fire and emergency services organizations throughout the state of Ohio. Provide interactive opportunities for members to engage in health and safety related issues, and provide training resources for members related to safety, health, and wellness issues. Some of their goals for this year are to create a best practice responder mental health document that agencies can use for policy development, support agency efforts moving to tobacco-free members, work with the Department of Public Safety's Division of EMS to continue assessing responder mental health in Ohio, collaborate with other members of the fire service to create a survey tool to determine the state of firefighter cancer prevention efforts by Ohio's fire department. And for the third year, provide safety, health, and wellness articles in the second quarter of the Incoming Yearly Magazine, and then present at the OFCA annual conference in July. This is Assistant Chief Jack Rupp's contact information if you'd like to reach out to him with any questions or interested in joining the committee. The volunteer committee is chaired by Chief Colin Altman. Chief Altman wasn't able to join us today, so Chief Westendorf is going to go through his committee.
Thanks, Michelle. I appreciate it. I think the volunteer committee is doing some fantastic work. They are working on a number of different areas this year to complete volunteer issue forms in each of the districts. They hosted one of these about a month ago now. They had a very good attendance, but only about 5 of the people that were in attendance were actually members of the association. So there was a good opportunity to kind of do some outreach and identify some of the benefits of the Ohio Fire Chiefs Association. So they're wanting to continue and repeat that throughout the rest of the state. So they're looking for some facilities where they can host those seminars, and then again, help communicate different issues related to the volunteer sector to that group. And then ultimately, they have an opportunity that they are now, Colin is sitting as a member, or not as a member, as an observer at the board of directors. So that communication can go up and down the line very well. Also, they're going to continue to work with the legislative committee and other stakeholders to advocate for different issues that would help support the volunteer fire service in and throughout Ohio. Obviously, they are very interested in the volunteer income tax bill that is being developed. And they would also like to work on other things that deal with property tax breaks, municipal fee waivers, tuition reimbursement, just different ways to help engage and bring people into the fire service. They also want to work to continue to develop recruitment and retention efforts. They have actually identified a desire to create a position that would work statewide to bring people into the fire service, potentially pursuing safer grant funding to help support the continuing efforts of that position. Colin's contact information is here. Miami Township Fire and Rescue, located down by Yellow Springs. He's a great guy. I encourage you to reach out to him.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. We're now going to move to the water supply TAC, which is co-chaired by Assistant Chief Jim Delman.
Good morning, Michelle. Thank you. The water TAC, we're really trying to be a vibrant and active group. We have approximately 32 members on the committee from all over the state. Myself and Ed Collette are the co-chairs. Some of our goals is to basically support the water supply training throughout the state of Ohio. We have people involved who are very good instructors. We would like to come out and, show you different things about water movement, not only with tankers or tenders, but, with large diameter hose operations. Basically, we want to promote the best practices, for the water supply operations throughout the state. we broke down the committee into 5 different working groups. Can you go to the next slide, Michelle? One of the first ones we we're working on is training. We're trying to support the water supply training throughout the state by when we are either approached by different departments or counties about drills that they're having. We will try to have some membership there to not tell them what to do, but to assist them in doing the training and showing the best practices. Some of our goals is basically to standardize the equipment used in water supply, especially in the tanker tender operations. Our curriculum development group, we're trying to generate curriculum for the committee to use also. We're also working with the Ohio Fire Academy to come up with some curriculum to put into the academy classes. We also have a group to work with the emergency response plan to try to integrate the water supply TAC into the plan. So as just like the past activation, we did have several members who was there, was that Fulton County, I believe it was, for the large Delta X fire. So we want to try to have people when a large incident like this is going on, that we can send some members there to help assist and be a benefit to the local departments. Can you go to the next one? In our communication group, we're trying to, basically get word out throughout the state about our committee and about the assistance that we can do with drills or provide drills. Groups willing to forward info. We're trying to forward info to the Chiefs Association, for the Facebook and to have a presence on social media. We also have a research and development. We're trying to do some testing and measuring of different appliances to see, there are so many out there, which ones are actually the best. A lot of times you talk to the vendors and, they really don't know this low-level strainer, how many gallons per minute will it provide. So we're trying to do testing on these. We have a testing date, November 16th, out at Lockington Fire Department, that we're going to do some testing on some different low-level strainers to see exactly what each one will provide you if needed. So, we're just trying to develop and measurement devices and procedures and come up with different things that we can present to the departments in the state, saying that, we're not telling you what to purchase, but this is the things that we found out about this particular brand or this particular brand. We're also trying to reach out to some different vocational schools that have the fire programs to try to get some training into these areas in Firefighter 1, Firefighter 2 training classes. So my contact information's on there. If anybody has any questions, you can give me a call or Ed Collette. And again, the group would be more than happy to come out and provide or help assist in any type of trainings that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So thanks to everyone for participating in our committee webinar today. We'll be sending out a link following this presentation, and you can get more information about the committees, you can join a committee, and we encourage you to reach out to the chairs if you have any additional information that you are needing to make a decision about which committee you would like to join. We're also going to take this webinar and post it on our YouTube channel. So if there's anything that you wanted to look at again, you'll be able to pull it from our YouTube channel, and that should be up there no later than Monday of next week. So hope everyone has a great day and appreciate you joining today. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Here.